Hey Zach, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Seems like just the other day I was, at your signing day down at Camp Hill. So, you know, can't believe we're at this part where we're talking during media day already. Um, Listen, Pat coming back. Um, what are the benefits for you in terms of perfecting your craft at that position?
Mm-hmm. Well, Pat never really was leaving, so we've always kind of just talked with one another about the potential of what we could have for this year upcoming. I mean, he and I have been friends since the recruiting days, so we're finally getting our chance to kind of have that opportunity to actually play together at the college level.
Gotcha. What role are you expecting to take on this year?
Obviously, we lost Nick Bowers last year, and he did a great job for our offense. And obviously, Pat's done a tremendous job last year, and then he's going to have a great year this year as well. So I just want to be a guy that the offense can trust and depend on in any situation, and just really be the player that everyone needs. Just going to go out there, do the best I can, and try to execute.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Andrew Porterfield, let me unmute you.
Hey, Zach, thanks for doing this. You touched on your relationship with Pat. What has been your favorite memory with him so far in college?
Favorite memory? Honestly, I don't think I can pinpoint one. It's been a cool journey. Like I said, like going from high school and having that relationship, and then now we're juniors and like the old guys on the team in college. So it's been a wild ride, but I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
And if I could follow up, Coach Bowen, what has he brought to your game at the college level?
Mm-hmm. I love Tebow, and I think all the guys in the room would say the same thing. He's a guy who has a offensive line background. Obviously, like he played himself, so that obviously helps in the blocking aspect of the game. But he knows everything about the pass game as well, and technique, and that's one of the biggest things. Just helping every little step. The little details matter in everything that we do.
Awesome, thanks, Zach.
Yep.
Thanks, Andrew. We'll move on to Mr. Wilborn here. Let me unmute you.
See, you didn't even try to pronounce the first name there, but I'm gonna let you slide.
I didn't really want to get it wrong, so I was just trying to be, professional as possible.
It's a recurring theme. It's a recurring theme today. But Zach, when you talk about coming back or not coming back, what were those conversations like with your family, with your guys on the team to say, hey, we're definitely going to make this thing happen?
Oh, you saying just
coming
season?
like playing after everything, getting
Mm-hmm.
the season canceled, then coming back, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, as a team, we've all kind of stayed optimistic, and we prepared like the season would have never been postponed in the first place. And we've been preparing that way during this whole time. So we made it our job that we wouldn't miss a beat, miss a step, so that we stay prepared for whatever the outcome will be. And thankfully, we're finally playing in the fall, and we're going to be ready for it.
Can I follow real quick?
Mm-hmm.
What was that first week like watching college football? Because you guys didn't know you were coming back then. Did you watch games? If so, what was that like? Yeah,
it was a little different for sure. That's something that we're not really used to, which is watching other college games going on. It felt a little weird at first, but like I said, I'm glad that we'll be playing now. So.
Thank you. We'll move on to Gabe here. Let me unmute you.
Hey, Zach, thanks for doing this. I just have a quick question. Yesterday, the whole number 0 thing was announced. Who do you think is one of your teammates that's deserving of wearing number 0?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just they just kind of broke the news to us yesterday as well, and we watched the video as a team. I think it's just going to be a player that, from what I kind of taken from it, is a key like special teams player for us as well, and just like we always say, like change the game. So I think there's a lot of different candidates of guys who are great special teams players. So I couldn't give you one answer who I think will probably get it.
Do you have a follow-up at all there, Gabe? I can re-unmute you.
I'm all good. Thank you.
Perfect. No problem. Anyone else? Andrew. Kent, let me unmute you, sir.
Hey there, Zach. What's the obviously the last few months have been extremely strange, and I feel like this is sort of a return to normalcy. It kind of feels like that. But I mean, you're on a college campus with people. I know that you guys are not like in like a huge crowd, you know, of regular classmates or whatever. A lot of people are doing online classes. But what has been the strangest or hardest thing about being on a college campus? I mean, you're all Big Ten academic. So I mean, like you care about these kind of things. And so I guess like what's the strangest thing about being on a college campus and sort of also part of a bubble that can't be broken?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, I think like one of the biggest changes, like you said, is the Zoom university type feel, which is where most of like all of my classes personally are online. So I don't go to classes on campus. So for me, one of the biggest changes has just been bringing the classroom to my personal room. So making sure I got like a clear desk and things for my classes, and then making that transition to football as well. And also, like you said, like we're up here on a college campus, but it's not that for us at this moment. Like it's more of a, we got to make the sacrifices now to keep each other safe. And our coaches and our staff have done a great job of putting things in place for us so that we can stay safe and still practice and train in a safe way. So, I mean, that's been one of the biggest changes, I guess. But like you said, getting back to normal day by day, and that's the ultimate goal.
You guys are tested a lot. And, you know, that said, I mean, one thing I've been sort of personally curious about, like football, you know, apart from the obvious contact, there's a lot of contact, you know, high fives even, or, you know, like touching your face that like people don't even think about. I mean, there's just like a lot of incidental contact that like I've wondered is that weird? You know, like I've shaken 7 hands in the last 6 months, and I remember each of those handshakes because I'm just like, whoa, it's a handshake. I don't think I've high-fived anybody, but I mean, you're on a football field and with like in a football facility. So when somebody like does this thing to you, you know, what is that like now compared to a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you guys are tested and fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like you said, like we're tested too. And just because we test negative doesn't necessarily mean that totally nothing to worry about. So, and even during practice, we're wearing our masks. We have face shields and things. And anytime our helmets are off, we have other masks, gaiters that we can put around our faces so that we're protecting one another. Yeah, like you said, it is a little weird because those are little things that you don't even think about. But again, like I said before, like Andy and our staff has done a great job of giving us everything that we can to help protect one another. We social distance when we can. Obviously, with football, there are certain times that you are going to be in contact with one another, but the amounts of time that you're in contact isn't as high risk as it would be where normal people, 2 people talking, not having a mask or something like that. So we limit the times that we are in full contact, and when we are able to be apart from each other, that's when we'll social distance and following all our guidelines.
What do you find yourself being cognizant of that maybe you wouldn't have been, I don't know, before all this, I guess? I mean, again, like the distancing or touching things and things like that. I mean, again, like this is not the, you know, point out, you know, landmines or whatever. It's more just like kind of the social aspect of this. But like, what is something that you personally are just, you know, football is like so, you know, hands-on in every possible way. Like, what is something that you're, you know, a little, you know, more careful about that, you know, like what's something that you know, has stuck with you on this that, you know, and when you're trying to go about a normal day as best as that can be?
Are you're saying more outside of football or in football?
Either. I mean, I guess either. Yeah. I mean, just as like a regular person on a college campus, I think that would be, you know, something you
Yeah,
guys
I mean,
pay attention to.
It is a little strange, but I mean, if we limit our travel, if I have to go to the grocery store, I'm obviously going to wear a mask. I'm going to stay away from others, and like I'm putting hand sanitizer before I go in, hand sanitizer after, and we're taking all this precautions because, like I said, it's not just about my personal health, because if I contract a virus, I could very easily pass it to another one of my teammates and then so on. So it's about taking care of myself, but also being accountable for my teammates' health as well. So when you kind of have that mindset, you take those extra precautions and you do those types of things, not only to protect yourself, but to protect your brothers.
How much separation is there between football players and sort of the wider campus community? I mean, again, like, it's been a long time for me, but I mean, college campuses have tons of people, and like, so I mean, like, how much? I don't expect you're just sort of sitting in, your dorm or apartment, and then I mean, maybe you are, I don't know, but like, what's the actual separation between yourself and every other student on Penn State's campus?
Well, I mean, we've kind of made an agreement as players, like made an agreement with each other that we're gonna make the sacrifice, and not a lot of people want to make that sacrifice, but we do separate ourselves from people who aren't involved in the program, because we can trust the people that we're with. We know who they've been around. We know that they'd be negative, because if you have one person who goes and associates with someone outside of the program, you're not sure if they're positive, they're negative, who they've been seeing. So, I mean, I guess you could say we're kind of in a bubble ourselves, but we have chosen that. It's nothing that has been like forced upon us, but we're making that sacrifice ourselves so that we can have a season. And I mean, I'm glad that we're having one now, and so that we can kind of continue that. You see with other programs where, I mean, I can't speak on what another program is doing, but they have COVID outbreaks and postponements of games, cancellations of games, and that's something we want to avoid at all costs. So we're taking it upon ourselves because the rewards at the end are a lot greater than what we're sacrificing right now.
Right. I mean, even the hashtag was "we want to play," and like that, obviously during a time like this does require some sacrifice. Like, what more can you tell me about that agreement? Like, how did that meeting come about? How many, was it everybody? Was it just like was it position groups? Like, what can you tell me specifically about that meeting of like, yes, this is what we're going to do and it sucks, but.
Well, I mean, it is kind of it's an unspoken agreement upon one another, because we're all here. We're all on a mission. We wouldn't be here if we didn't want to play. We didn't want to get better. We didn't want to win championships. And that's obviously in the back of all of our minds. So going from a point of where there's no season, it kind of is in shambles in a way, because you're not really sure what to expect. But we just wanted to all voice our opinions and do what we can to try to persuade that, like, we want to play. We've been given the guidelines of everything that we can follow. Our coaches and our staff have done a great job of keeping us safe in these crazy times of everything. And so we just kind of all agreed with one another that, like, we do want to play. We can play safely and to continue the season in the fall.
So what are you having to sort of sacrifice as part of this agreement? And now, was there an actual meeting, or was it just sort of here's what we're going to do? Like what did you guys sort of decide to sacrifice?
Well, again, it's just like we're talking with each other every day, teammates. It doesn't have to be like one formal thing, but I mean, we all agree that we can make these sacrifices for ourselves, ourselves, and honestly make the sacrifices for our teammates and keeping everybody safe, not just ourselves, but like I've been saying, like everybody on our team. And if we have to sacrifice a couple months of maybe what a normal college life would be, and we can win a Big Ten championship or be in the playoffs, win a national championship, I think that'd be all worth it in the end. What's
one example of a specific sacrifice? It may be something I'm not even thinking of, but I mean, I guess if like somebody, if you're walking around, he walks up to you and says, hey, Zack, just want to talk about the season, that could be problematic. So like, what's one, like just one specific, even if it's small, sacrifice that you've had to make, just in the name of the greater good here? Well, I guess maybe just like a social aspect. We try to associate ourselves now with just people within the program that we can trust. And by trust, I just mean we know who they've been around. We know that they're following the guidelines. And we can go to a restaurant and we can sit down at a restaurant, maybe see if someone sees us or wants to walk up to us. Well, obviously we wear our masks or we keep them at a safe distance because of the guidelines that we've set in place for us. It's not like we're in prison, but we're taking precautions and precautions that we need to take to keep each other safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Kent. Donnie, let me unmute you really quick.
Thanks. Hey, Zach, I'm probably going to ask you a question you've been asked about 15 times, but what does it mean to have Pat back? What's your relationship like with him? How much have you learned from him? And, you know, how has he kind of helped you take the next step?
Well, Pat and I kind of came in together, and we've had that relationship since before even college. Like through high school, we began that relationship and created that bond with one another. And it's been great going through the years. I mean, I've learned a lot from Pat and the way he prepares. I think that's one of the biggest things, because everybody sees what he does on the field, but they don't really see what he's doing behind the scenes, what he's doing in the weight room, doing after practice, getting extra work, whether it's treatment, whether it's film study or anything like that. And so that's one of the biggest things I've learned, is just how to prepare and to make your body, make your mind ready for those moments.
Okay, so this new offense, what is it? How is it different for the tight ends? How does it feature you guys a little bit more, a little differently? What ways is it fun for you?
I love the new offense. I love what Coach Rock is doing. We kind of kept some pieces that we like, and that's the cool part about maybe getting the new OCs is you learn some new things, you keep some things from before, and you kind of integrate those things into your offense. And I think what he's doing is going to be great for the tight ends. I'm excited to see what we're going to do this season. Practice has been good, and offense has been doing well. So I'm excited to see what we're going to do.
I think the last time you spoke, you kind of talked about blocking and your role there. And, you know, how much of do you kind of have to work with the offensive linemen, kind of getting, you know, kind of getting down what they have to do from their end, and what's it like working with such an experienced group?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. You need to have great communication, and that's one of the biggest things Coach Rock emphasizes, that we must communicate with each other, and we got to be clear and repetitive and loud and repetitive and keep on repeating those things so that everybody is on the same page. Because if we're doing a blocking scheme, the tight end, if the tight end's blocking, he's got to be on the same page as the offensive line. And even though they're two different position groups, they got to be on the same page in order for the play to be successful. So I mean, it's extremely helpful working with guys in the offensive line who know what they're doing and have been in these positions for a long time. So that's definitely helpful for me personally. And so that helps a lot.
I mean, I assume it's the same for every position, but first year as a starter at quarterback to second year, I imagine you're getting a big jump there. What have you seen from Sean that's been a little different, a little better this year?
Well, Sean's always been a leader in my eyes, and he's always been a guy who's never afraid to voice his opinion. And you need that in a quarterback, a guy who's willing to take charge. And even from when we were younger and being in freshman year, Sean was always vocal, and you need that in quarterback. And I think over the time, he's just more and more gained more game experience, and obviously that's going to help anyone be better. I think he's matured a lot, and I think he learns more and more. He's a guy who's super competitive and someone who's never satisfied with just being okay. He always wants to be great and go above and beyond. So immediately his practice over, he's a guy who's sitting in the cold tubs already watching film. So he's always constantly improving and critiquing himself.
How comfortable is this team with what you've got at quarterback? Because not only did Sean play a lot last year, Will got in. He showed some pretty good things too. How comfortable are you guys with him?
Oh, we're very comfortable. They're both totally capable people of playing the position. Will is obviously a great quarterback as well. He's a great addition to the offense and what he brings to the table. And Sean too, local leader, and he got a great arm. They both got great arms, and honestly, we're super comfortable with both guys.
What have you seen from the wideout group? I mean, that's a group that kind of, you know, because of the relative lack of experience, I guess, from that spot that kind of has drawn some attention. But what have you seen from them from a development perspective, as much as you, or as little as you guys have been able to work from then and from the spring until now? What have you seen from them from an improvement standpoint?
I think our wides have done a great job. We've got some great wideouts that are coming back. And some of the younger guys have done a great job of stepping up as well. And like you said, we haven't had a ton of time together. But like when we're running routes for the quarterbacks, I mean, I spend most of my time with the tight ends, but from what I've seen for the wideouts, they've done a great job, and they're poised to have a great year.
What are you looking forward to most about, I mean, maybe not even just playing, but getting back to practicing? And you know, this is not something you guys are guaranteed by any means.
Honestly, just getting back as much as I can, getting back to normalcy, and that's one of the biggest things. It's so great to slowly but surely be around the guys more and more, because we're used to being with them all the time and no restrictions of things. So it's a little weird before, just like being separated from one another, having being separated from everyone. So it's great to kind of get back to be with everybody in a safe way. And so I'd say that's one of the biggest things.
Have you thought much at all about the prospect of playing in front of no fans? I would imagine that's going to be a very different thing for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously that'll be different. We're used to having over 100,000 people in the stands watching us, so it's going to be a different aspect and a different challenge that we'll have to face. But I know we can overcome it. Just got to create our own juice, create our own energy, and I know we have plenty of guys on our team that help bring the juice, and everybody else can kind of get behind that, and we'll ride that.
I mean, you guys when you're going into a tough environment, you could turn up the music or something like that. How do you prepare for no sound coming from the seats?
Mm-hmm. Well, usually what we do is if we're going into a hostile environment, we know there's going to be a lot of music. The whole week of practice, we'll be blasting music to the point where we can't hear one another, and that kind of helps prepare us. But I suppose like we won't have music. We'll have to focus on and focus on our communication with each other, so that maybe it'll be helpful. Maybe in some aspects may hurt us, but like I said, it'll be a challenge that we'll overcome, and we'll take it on as it comes.
Thanks, Donnie. Sean, I'll unmute you. You wanted to ask anything?
All right. Yes. Thanks, Nicole. Zack, just curious about your thoughts on Kirk Shiraka and the roles that the tight ends will have. Obviously, Pat's, Pat is Pat, but what do you think about how those different niches that you guys can carve out can help each of you in that tight end room?
Mm-hmm. I think the offense is going to be great for the tight ends. Obviously, Pat's a great player, and you get your playmakers the ball. So I think there's going to be great options for getting the Pat the ball, and like same thing with our wideouts. We have things set in place to have our playmakers make those plays, and just going in like down the line of the tight ends. I think it's going to put me and other tight ends in great position as well. Just going throughout the season, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen.
For you as a former receiver, I mean, did you look at that Minnesota tape and think that you could maybe emulate some of their receiver stuff, or do you see yourself, reverting to the traditional tight end spot, as kind of what they didn't really use at Minnesota? I mean, what do you look at when you see the film in Minnesota and think this is how I fit in?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have a totally different skill set in the tight end room than Minnesota had. I don't know about Minnesota or Minnesota's tight ends or their dynamic of players, but I'm very confident in our players. I know what we're capable of, and I think we can expand the tight end role. We could be a receiving tight end. We can be a blocking tight end. And I think that's what's so great about the tight end position is you're not just one, you got to be great at both. And I think that's going to be a great aspect this year.
Do you see yourself in more 12 with the receiver situation, with the talent in the tight end room? Do you see that playing off and increasing your reps?
Obviously, I'd love to see more 12 personnel. I'd love to see all tight ends in there. But no, I think we have great receivers. I think we have great tight ends, and our coaches are going to make that decision when the time comes, what's going to put us in the best position to win games.
Sean, let me grab Lauren real quick, and then if you have more, you can go.
Cool. Hi, Zach.
How's it going?
We're asking everybody this, but I was wondering, who do you kind of have your eye on as a breakout player to watch for this season? And it can be on either side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, to two guys at least on defense. I think offense as a whole, I think we have a lot to do, and we have barely scratched the surface. But two guys on defense, honestly, I'd say are probably Charlie Catcher and Nick Tarburton. I think those are two guys that not a lot of people have heard about, but I think they're gonna have great years.
Thanks.
Sean, I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah. If you do, go ahead. I mean, okay. Yeah, I was going to ask about Theo and Tyler. What have you seen from those guys since they've arrived, and I guess how do they add to the room?
I think they're two guys who are crazy athletic. Two guys that I think fit our room really well. Like Theo and Tyler, both they're great athletes. They're both we all have a lot to learn. Like going in, even Pat and I, like, we'll talk about it, and Tebow will talk to us all the time that as soon as you think you know something, you don't, and you got to learn more. So like we're slowly learning more and more every single day. And I look back and see like for when I was in that position and where I'm at now, and I try to Pat and I try to help them out as best we can with every little thing they can ask us. So we're there for them to support them in like questions about anything, and so we're just helping each other develop.
I mean, what is the, I guess not really the ceiling for this tight end room, but I mean, where do you guys see yourself? I mean, do you have that chip on your shoulder? Best tight end room in the Big Ten, best in the country. Where do you guys see yourself? I mean, I don't know how much you look around the country, but I'm sure you're in the same class as Kyle Pitts at Archbishop Wood. How do you see yourself among these tight end groups around the country?
I mean, obviously, you see those other guys around the country who have like great games, great years, and are doing well. I can only speak for what our room is doing, what our room is producing. I think we have one of, if not the best tight end room in the country as a whole. And depth-wise, I think we have the best tight end in the Big Ten and arguably the best tight end in the country on our team right now. And so, I mean, we have that chip on our shoulder. But like I said, there's always room for improvement. We're constantly learning more and more every day. And so even if you think you're the best or you want to be the best, you strive to be the best, you still got to outwork everybody else.
Finally, what have you seen from Sean this offseason, and what has the extra time done for him getting ready for this offense?
Can you repeat that?
Clifford, what have you seen from him this offseason, and what is the extra time with the delayed and everything? What does that do for you guys?
Obviously, it's a little weird because not having spring ball and those types of things to build that chemistry with the quarterback. But from the time we've had, I think he's done an amazing job of adjusting, especially with the new offense, not having a spring ball. I think he's done an amazing job adapting, taking Coach Shiraka's coaching and implementing his own kind of play style. I think he's done a tremendous job just building that chemistry with the new wideouts, like some of the younger guys we've gotten, and just getting that work in with each other.
Cool. Appreciate it, Zach. You over 250 yet?
Yeah, I am.
Very good, man. Good to talk to you.